I used to be on Snapchat all the time back in 2015 and the year before that. This story happened during the summer when I was 14, and Snapchat was basically my daily routine. There was this one friend I snapped with constantly. We were always on each other's best friends list. For the sake of this story, I'll call him Ben. One night, I realized Ben hadn't sent me any snaps in a while, so I decided to shoot him a funny picture. When he didn't open it after some time, I snapped him again, another goofy photo of myself, hoping to get a laugh out of him. I happened to still be on the app when I saw he finally opened both snaps. Normally, Ben would respond within a minute, sometimes even seconds, but this time, nothing. No reply at all. I tried not to overthink it, but after a bit, I decided to text him instead. Just a simple, "What's up?" Within a minute, I saw the read receipt pop up, the tiny indicator letting me know he had seen it. But still, he didn't respond, not a single word. I sat there, phone in hand, feeling that uneasy pit in my stomach as I wondered if I had done something to make him mad, or if I had somehow crossed a line I didn't even realize. But I wasn't going to beg him to text me back, so I sighed, put my phone down, and tried to distract myself with something else. Time passed, and I eventually got caught up in a texting conversation with another friend about something unrelated, and somehow Ben's name came up. In passing, my friend mentioned that Ben had lost his phone. That made me pause. I made sure to ask my friend again to confirm that Ben's phone was still missing. My friend replied with certainty, yeah, Ben definitely still didn't have his phone. I ended up calling Ben's house phone, the old landline number I still had saved. His dad answered, and I asked if I could talk to Ben. When Ben got on the line, he confirmed it himself. Yeah, he was still missing his phone. My chest tightened as I told him someone else had it, because whoever had his phone was opening Snapchats and reading texts. I could hear the panic in Ben's voice as it hit him, and he told me, almost begging, to come over to his place. But I really didn't want to, not with how weird this was getting. I told him I had already messaged the person using his phone, asking them to return it, hoping that would be enough to handle it. I started firing off text after text to the person, trying to reason with them, demand the phone back, or at least get some kind of response. For every single message I sent, the read receipt popped up almost instantly. Someone was definitely seeing them, but they didn't reply. Instead, after a while, I got a Snapchat notification from Ben's account. My hands felt cold as I opened it, and what popped up on the screen made my skin crawl. It was a picture of this weird-looking guy, someone I had never seen before, with a huge, unnatural smile stretched across his face, like he was trying too hard to look friendly. The caption underneath the photo simply read, "Coming over." I felt sick. I called Ben again, my voice shaking, and I asked him if he had either of our addresses saved on his phone. My stomach sank when he told me that, yeah, he did. He had both his address and mine saved on there. While I was still on the phone with Ben, trying to figure out what we could do, a new text came in from Ben's number. I glanced at the screen, and my blood ran cold when I read it. "You're good looking." Ben didn't have Find My iPhone turned on, so there was no way to track the phone or find out where this creep was with it. That night, I woke up at some ungodly hour, around 3 a.m. if I had to guess. I wasn't sure if something had woken me up or if it was just one of those nights. But in that hazy moment of waking, I was almost certain I saw some kind of light flicker just as I opened my eyes. I sat up, rubbing the sleep from my eyes, and it hit me how unbelievably hot it was in the room, which didn't make any sense because we had the AC running. It felt like the air was heavy, pressing down on me. As I turned toward my window, an unexpected white flash of light exploded through the darkness, flooding the entire room. A sharp pain stabbed at my eyes, which had adjusted to the darkness, and I squeezed them shut, blinking rapidly, trying to force them open again. When I finally managed to pry them open, my heart stopped. My window was open, and someone was leaning halfway into my bedroom. In their hand was a camera, the lens pointed straight at me. I screamed like a terrified little kid, the sound tearing out of my throat in pure panic during what was, without question, the most nightmarish moment of my life. There was a man at my window. As I shoved myself backward, pressing up against the wall, curling up on my bed with my knees pulled in, still screaming, I could see him clearly now, illuminated by the dim streetlights outside. It was the same face, the same creepy, unnatural smile I had seen on Ben's Snapchat. He struggled to pull himself back through the window, his shoulders catching for a second before he managed to slip out and vanish into the night. Just moments before my parents burst into my room, panicked and shouting. We called the police that same night. My parents demanded they track Ben's phone, the one that creep had been using. It didn't take long. They found the man holed up in a house about 2 miles away, and they arrested him. Ben got his phone back, and I got something I didn't realize I needed so badly: peace of mind, knowing that creep was finally behind bars. This is a short but genuinely terrifying story about something that happened while I was Snapchatting a friend. I'm still pretty young, only 13, still in middle school. A girl I really liked had just recently started snapping me selfie pictures, and we'd been messaging back and forth for a few nights, each conversation making me feel more excited than the last. One night, while I was sitting on the couch watching TV, she sent me a snap. It was a photo of her lying in bed, no caption, just her face and the top of her blanket. I felt a rush in my chest and quickly sent her a message saying, "What's up?" A few seconds later, she sent another snap, almost identical to the first one, except this time there was a caption that said, "Not much, you." She had set the timer to 10 seconds, so I had enough time to really look at the photo. That's when I noticed it. Behind her, in the background of the picture, there was a dark outline of someone standing by her window. It was just a shadow at first, but it was enough to make my stomach twist. Panic prickled through me, and I quickly typed a message back. "Is that your brother by the window?" She sent another snap, again nearly identical to the last two. This time, the caption read, "What do you mean?" But it wasn't the caption that made me feel like my heart was going to stop. In this photo, the figure by the window was closer now. I could see a hand pressed up against the glass, fingers splayed, the skin pale against the darkness outside. I closed the snap before the timer even finished, my hands trembling as I tried to type faster. "There's somebody at your window. Turn around." She opened my snap almost immediately, and I waited, watching the screen, hoping to see her typing back. But she didn't. And after that, I didn't hear from her again on the app. As the minutes ticked by, I grew more and more worried. The glow of my phone screen felt harsh in the dark as I sent her text after text, each one going unanswered. I tried calling her a few times too, hoping she would pick up, but every call rang and rang before dropping into silence. I didn't know her house phone number, and the thought of not being able to call her parents made my stomach twist even tighter. I felt helpless, lying there with my phone clutched in my hand, staring at the screen, hoping it would light up with a reply. It wasn't until midnight, when I was already in bed, the room quiet except for the hum of the AC, that my phone finally buzzed. It was her. She explained everything in her message. The words blurred in front of my eyes as I read them over and over, my heart pounding. She told me that the moment she turned around and looked out her window, she saw the person standing there, just like I had said. She screamed, the sound enough to tear through the silence of the house and wake her parents. That scream made the person outside react. He was a man, probably in his 20s, and when she screamed, he didn't run away. Instead, he opened the window and jumped into her room. That was when she ran, bolting down the hallway to her parents' room, waking up her dad in a panic. Her dad rushed back to her room, but by the time he got there, the only thing left was the open window, curtains fluttering in the breeze, and the darkness outside swallowing any trace of the man who had been there. It wasn't exactly a personal experience of mine, but it still freaks me out to this day, knowing how close it came to being something much worse. And what gets me the most is that the only thing that saved my friend from whatever could have happened that night was the fact that I had noticed the window in the background of her selfies, something the creep outside her window never even realized was possible. When you think of Snapchat, the last thing that usually comes to mind is a horror story, unless you're worried about private pictures getting leaked or something. But almost a year ago now, something happened that completely changed how I see that app. At the time, I was a senior in high school, sitting at the kitchen table around 10 p.m., casually Snapchatting a few different people while scrolling on my phone. My parents had already gone to bed, and the house was quiet except for the ticking of the clock on the wall. That was when I got a notification from Snapchat. It said, "Snapchat from Hector." I froze for a moment, blinking at the name. I didn't know anyone named Hector, so right away it felt weird. I should mention, I'm a guy, so it's not like I was used to random creeps snapping me looking for pictures or trying to flirt. This wasn't something that happened to me. I didn't want to open the snap immediately, thinking that if I did, whoever this was might think I was available for a conversation I had no interest in having. So I let it sit there, the notification staring back at me, and eventually I forgot all about it. That is, until about half an hour later, when I got another snap from this Hector person. This time, curiosity got the better of me, and I opened it right away. The first snap was taken in a really dark room, so dark that it was hard to make out anything clearly, but I could see just barely. There was someone's face in the photo, though it was hidden in shadows. The only thing I could tell was that the person appeared to have slightly darker skin, but beyond that, it was impossible to get any real details. I sat there, confused, when another snap came in immediately. This one was taken outside, facing down a road at night. It was grainy and dark, the kind of low-quality photo you get from trying to take a snap under a streetlight. At first, I couldn't quite tell what I was supposed to be looking at, but as I squinted, I realized it. There was an arm in the photo, reaching out from the bottom of the frame, pointing down the road. I typed out, "Who is this?" in the chat, hoping for a quick explanation that would clear up the weird feeling growing in my stomach. The message was read instantly, but there was no reply. Instead, a notification popped up. He had added me. After a moment of hesitation, I added him back, hoping it would give me a clue as to who this was. His Snapchat score was literally 5. Just 5. He started watching all of my Snapchat stories, each view sending another cold wave through me as I tried to figure out who the hell Hector could be. 5 minutes crawled by before I got another snap from him. My heart thudded in my chest as I opened it right away. It was a picture taken in the middle of a street at night. The quality was bad, shaky, but my eyes caught on to something that made the breath catch in my throat. I recognized the street. He was only 2 blocks away from my house. My hands shook as I typed, "Who is this?" again, trying to convince myself that this was just one of my friends messing around with a throwaway account for laughs. I started texting a few of my friends who I thought might pull something like this, demanding if it was them. They all swore it wasn't. Every single one promised they weren't behind it, but they all thought it was hilarious, sending back laughing emojis while I sat there not laughing at all. That was when I got a 4th Snapchat from Hector. My stomach twisted, and I felt my breathing pick up as I hesitated for a few seconds before opening it, my thumb hovering over the screen. Finally, I swiped it open. It was a photo of my block, taken from right by the old lamppost on the corner, the one that flickered every few seconds. That was it for me. I couldn't take it anymore. I called up my good friend who lived 2 doors down and told him what was going on, my voice shaking as I explained. I needed someone there. He came over within minutes because he could tell I was freaked out, and I was glad for it. He's a big dude, the kind of guy you feel safe around, and in that moment, it felt like if this creep tried anything, the 2 of us would be ready to take on whoever was out there. We sat together on the couch, the TV playing in the background, but neither of us was really watching it. All we could do was stare at my phone, waiting, the tension in the room thick enough to choke on as we waited for another snap from this Hector guy. Sure enough, the notification popped up. Snapchat from Hector. My friend burst out laughing, finding the whole thing hilarious, the way some people do when things are just a little too creepy to process. I couldn't laugh. I was too nervous, the knot in my stomach twisting tighter with each second that passed. He nudged me, grinning, and told me, "Take a screenshot this time." With a deep breath, I opened the snap. It was a picture of my house, taken from the front yard. A chill ran straight through me as I took the screenshot, the shutter sound of my phone suddenly sounding too loud in the room. My friend's laughter died immediately, and we both jumped off the couch, rushing toward the front door. We flung it open, the night air hitting us in the face, cool but heavy with that late-night stillness. We stepped outside, scanning the yard, the street, the shadows near the bushes, but there was no one there. Neither of us felt safe just standing around, so we quickly slipped our shoes on, determined to check around the house ourselves. I told my friend to stay out front while I went to check the backyard. I could feel the adrenaline buzzing through my veins as I moved, my phone clutched tightly in my hand, lighting the way. Halfway to the backyard, my phone buzzed again. Another snap from Hector. I opened it immediately, my breath catching when I saw it. It was a picture of the back door of my house. He was there. Before I opened the gate, I yelled for my friend to come around back, thinking it would be safer if we were together. But looking back now, I can see that was a mistake. Because as soon as I swung the gate open, I caught a glimpse of someone. A figure was already running, heading straight for the gate on the other side of the yard, slipping into the darkness before I could even react. I shouted, and my friend and I took off, chasing after whoever it was, our shoes pounding against the ground as we ran through the yard and into the street. But it was too dark, too quiet, and the shadows swallowed everything. Whoever this Hector guy was, he got away that night. My friend stuck around for another hour or two after that, both of us trying to act like everything was normal, even though we kept glancing out the windows every few minutes, expecting to see someone standing there in the dark. Eventually he left, and not long after, I went to bed. Of course, falling asleep wasn't easy. I lay there in the dark, rolling around, unable to get comfortable. The glow of the streetlights through my blinds feeling like it was crawling across the walls. In the back of my mind, I kept waiting for the notification to go off on my phone, that sharp buzz in the silence letting me know, Hector sent you a Snapchat. But eventually, the exhaustion won. Everything around me fading into darkness, until the next thing I remember was waking up the following morning, light spilling through my window, reminding me that the night was finally over. The very first thing I did was grab my phone, my heart pounding as I unlocked it. There were 3 notifications, each one from the middle of the night. All of them said the same thing. Hector sent you a Snapchat. It took me a long time to finally press the button to open them, my thumb hovering over the screen, every part of me screaming not to look, but knowing I couldn't just leave it alone. The first snap opened. It was a photo of one of the windows to my house, taken from outside, the curtains barely visible through the reflection of the flash. The second snap was the same, but of a different window, a closer angle, like he had moved around the house, looking for something. The third snap made my stomach drop. It was my bedroom window, taken from outside, right where I had been lying in bed, completely unaware that someone was standing there, camera in hand, in the middle of the night. That was it for me. I blocked the user immediately, my hands shaking, and went as far as to email Snapchat support to report the account, explaining everything that had happened. They sent back some copy-pasted response. "Thank you for your email. We take these matters very seriously," and a bunch of other generic lines that felt completely empty. They proved to be of little help, even when I followed up with them a week later, begging them to take it seriously. I tried to rationalize it. Normally, I would assume that whoever did this was a friend, an acquaintance, or maybe some random person from my grade pulling a sick joke. But the more I thought about it, the less sense it made. Judging by the small glimpses of skin I saw in the snaps and the username, this person was Hispanic. And there weren't any Hispanic kids in my school. It still freaks me out to this day, wondering who the hell this Hector person actually was, how he knew who I was, how he found my Snapchat username, and worst of all, how he knew where I lived.